Ladies loving my music is like some sex shit. Niggas trying to
On the mic like it's a dick.
run around the corner to pick up the new shit.
The shit.
Sisters in the dance, niggas could catch a
Hey guys, so in today's video we are going to be talking about my all-time favorite standalone novels, and as you guys may or may not know, I am a huge contemporary fanatic, and most contemporary books you would think are standalones. But when it actually comes down to it, it seems like a lot of contemporary books actually do have like novellas that go with them, or they're in some type of series or something of the sort. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, there's really not that many like completely standalone, like this is the only book in its whole entire world books. So I decided to go through my bookshelf and I came across a couple different contemporary books that are my absolute favorites that are actually standalones and they don't have any like novellas or extra books that go with them at this very moment. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. I think I have around like 9 books to share with you guys, so let's just get into it. The first book I actually don't have a physical copy of at this moment because my friend is borrowing it, but that is Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. You guys have probably heard me talk about this book before. It is absolutely one of my all-time favorite contemporary YA books. I think I even named it my all-time favorite book of 2015. It is one of my favorites. Also, I do have a full review on this book, so I'll have that link down below. For any of the books really that are in this video that I have a review on, they will be down below. But this book follows a girl named Sam who's kind of always been in the popular crowd, but what her friends don't know is that she actually has OCD, and she's very good at hiding it, and she goes to therapy for it, and she just kind of like doesn't know what to do with her life anymore. She finds this new girl at school who introduces her to this poetry club, and they all do like slam poetry, and so now she's kind of like living this double life where she goes with this girl and does slam poetry, and she has her friends, and there's also this new boy she meets, and she's dealing with OCD, and it just gets so overwhelming and crazy, and the book just kind of follows her story through high school and her journey, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I know some people have mixed reviews on the book, but I absolutely love it, so definitely check out that one. Next is a book that I don't think I've talked about in quite a while, but it's one of my all-time favorites, and that is Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. I think a lot of you guys have probably heard of this book just for its controversial subject matter, because this book follows sibling incest, and literal sibling incest. It's not like Dimly where it's like step siblings that date, because that's not really incest, but this is literal incest in a book, and it's the craziest book because you're literally rooting for them to be a couple, and it's like, why am I, like, what? They're siblings. Like, it's the weirdest thing ever, but it's such a wonderful and heartbreaking story, and I absolutely loved this book when I read it. So I really recommend this one if you want something kind of crazy but kind of heartfelt. It's a really good book. Next up is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. Now, Sarah Dessen has a million standalone novels, but I think this one is one of my absolute favorites. This and probably Saint Anything are my 2 faves, and I just love this book. I read it for Booktubeathon 2015. Follows a girl named Macy and kind of her experience during the summer. She lives with her mother, who's super rich and fancy and like the kind of person that makes their house look like they don't live in it. But then she comes across this boy who works for this catering company, and she kind of befriends everybody in the catering company and starts working with them, and it's just kind of like her finding herself, kind of one of those self-discovery type stories, and it's like a teenager. It's really, really cute, and I absolutely love the story. I fell in love with every single character in this book, and I highly recommend it if you've not checked it out yet, or just any of Sarah Dessen's books. They're all really great standalones, so I recommend them. Next up is another book that a lot of people kind of have mixed feelings on, and that is Firsts by Laurie Elizabeth Flynn. This is one of my all-time favorite books that I read in 2016. I read it at the beginning of the year. I also have a full review on this one, so that'll be linked down below as well. But this book follows a girl named Mercedes who likes to help boys learn how to have sex before they have sex with their girlfriends, and it's just a big mess because that's kind of not a good idea, you know, but Macy thinks that she's really helping the general public of her high school by teaching all these boys the ropes, and it's just kind of a disaster. But Mercedes is this super complex, crazy character, and I absolutely loved this book. I really, really enjoyed it, so I recommend it if you want something kind of different and kind of a crazy contemporary. So this is a really great standalone as well. If you have been subscribed to me since the beginning, you probably know what book I'm going to be saying next, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is sort of another book that I've heard different opinions on. I know there's some people that just absolutely hate and dismiss John Green's books at all costs just because they think they're kind of too cliche and kind of like too manic pixie dream girl for them, and they don't like them, and I completely understand. But personally, I'm a huge fan of John Green's writing. I think it's so phenomenal, and I absolutely love his characters, especially the characters in this book. If you are part of the small population that does not know what this book is about, it follows a boy named Pudge who goes to boarding school and he makes these new friends, one of them being Mrs. Alaska Young, and he has this like really powerful infatuation with her from the moment that he meets her. And it's just kind of his story of being at boarding school and all the crazy pranks they do on each other and crazy stuff, but then it becomes kind of more than that, and you just kind of have to read the book to know what I'm talking about. But it's an absolutely phenomenal and moving story in my opinion, and I definitely recommend it if you've not picked it up yet. If you're scared to because people tell you to shy away from John Green, I'm telling you to read them, so go ahead and do that. Another favorite of mine is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. This is actually my favorite Morgan Matson book, surprisingly. I think this is the one book that everyone kind of writes off that she's done because she's just kind of like the queen of contemporary. She has a bunch of really great standalones, but this one, it just really resonated with me, and I read it at a time in my life that it was very relatable to me, and it's a very sad story, I'm not gonna lie about that. It just kind of follows this teenager during the summer where her father's going through some stuff, so her and her family decide to have like this one last summer at the house that they go to during the summer. They go to their lake house, and she just kind of experiences all this stuff. Like, she used to go to the lake house when she was really young, and now she's a teenager and she's going back and like revisiting all these feelings that she had when she was younger. And I know a lot of people also tend to write off Morgan Matson's books because they're like, every book is the same, it's all the same characters, there's nothing complex about it. But to that, I completely disagree. I think all of Morgan Matson's books have a really great message, and they're just super cute, and I love them. So this book is definitely one of my favorites. If you're one of the people that's only read like Since You've Been Gone or The Unexpected Everything, this is a hidden gem, and I really recommend it. Next up, we have The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, and now this book is just one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love it. Follows this boy going into his freshman year of high school. He doesn't really have many friends, but he meets these new friends that are all seniors, and they kind of just bring him into their little group, and they're all like crazy and weird together, and they just form this like really intense, wonderful friendship. And it's just kind of his year being a freshman, but he's also dealing with other stuff kind of mentally that they don't all know about. And this book's actually told in journal entries, which is really different and cool, and I really, really love this book. I know a lot of people are really into the movie and they haven't read the book, and I'm here to tell you that they are both very wonderful things, but they are very different, and I recommend the book too because it's absolutely phenomenal. So one of my favorite standalones. Next on my list is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I know a lot of you guys that watch my videos often are probably like, why isn't the whole list just Colleen Hoover? It's because Colleen Hoover has a lot of novellas. She has a lot of books that have another book that's in a different character's point of view, and they all kind of relate to each other. This is one of her books that's just, it's one book. It's its own thing. I don't want to give too much away about this book because it's kind of hard to describe what it's about. This book kind of like goes from her past to her present each chapter, and kind of tells the story of when she was living in Maine with her parents, and then the story of her now living in Boston. And it's kind of a romance. It's kind of like a crazy book. It's a contemporary, but I think it's a really great book, and I absolutely love it, and I have a full review down below if you've read it. And the last book I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is I'll Meet You There by Heather Demetrios. This is one of my favorite books. I absolutely love it. It's a contemporary, obviously. It's about this girl named Skylar who's living in this small town. She's graduating high school. She wants to go to art school. She just like wants to escape her town like every other small town kid. And she just kind of doesn't know what to do with her life. She wants to do art, but her mother's struggling, so she's kind of torn between what she should do. And then there's this boy Josh who just lost his leg in Afghanistan after being in the Marines, and he comes home. Skylar and Josh kind of knew each other before because they worked together at this hotel, and they kind of form a new unlikely friendship together, and they get closer, and it just kind of follows them, and it's a really sweet story, super intense. I love this book so much. I think it's so underhyped. Nobody talks about this book that I've seen on BookTube, and it's one of my all-time favorites, so I really recommend this one. It's amazing. So guys, that is going to be it for my favorite standalones. Definitely leave me a comment down below letting me know what your favorite standalones are. Recommend some to me. Again, I've definitely read more standalones than this list, but these are the ones that I just thought of immediately when I wanted to do this video. If we do have any of the same favorite standalones, let me know in a comment down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And I'll talk to you guys all in my next video. Bye!
What's good, good? And what's good, evil? And what's good, gangsters? And what's good, people? And why